with us so far, so that we know where to, before we now go proper into what we're trying to do. Okay, so who goes first? Who bells the cat? Mr. Patrick, Abari, who goes first? Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. It's good to have you. You might also want to tell us how long you've been doing this and what the experience has been so far. If you are enjoying it, what has been your challenges? Thank you.
Okay, I think it's been about almost 2 months now. Yeah, almost 2 months now. But the experience has been fun because I think, although immediately I began, not long after this, the Microsoft challenge came up. So I eventually focused on the Microsoft challenge. But eventually, because I started late, the time was actually against me. So most of the modules, I just had to just scan through it, get the knowledge, and then just answer their this thing and then move on. But what I basically did was save them as a PDF, the web pages as PDF files that I can always refer to, and that's what I've been doing lately, just referring back to those ones. But my this thing is that there are a lot of them, but my challenge has actually been in like I'll just like focusing on what actually is the basics, which one, as in, like I've not been able to really. I've done there's a flow this thing that I did, that's for Twitter this thing. So I basically, but eventually I know I got the this thing succeeded, and I got a tweet which was automatic. And then I did the tables, trying to link them up. But I basically have not been able, because what my own idea was, maybe the Power Platform is basically like to create an app to do some. Is it that it is those web links that they eventually create? Is the web is the applications? To have it like, okay, this is an app, this is what it's doing, and then how do we begin to tinker with it to do something different? And which one do I actually focus on now? And taking chance for me, that's the challenge, because I saw a lot
awesome.
of when I
Okay, awesome. I'm sure that at least I've one or two things that I could pick from what you've said, at least, is that yes, the experience is coming gradually, and also you're able to jump on the Microsoft challenge. Which has afforded you the opportunity to get a free voucher. Have you gotten the free voucher for an exam?
Yes, I picked a date, but in August.
Okay, great. So there's a difference between where you were and where you are today. So for me, it's a good one. You've started something, and I'm sure there's a difference now. So awesome. I'm sure over time you just get to tidy up some things, and you get familiarized more. And as regards your application, I think don't worry. One of the things we will look at is some of the things that some of us have built in the past, or I could just make a case for something and we'll see how to build that. And even some of us, the people on this call too, would want to say one or two things on what they have been able to build, so that it will serve as a motivation for you too. I think I'll go to Abari now. I know Abari was trying to create some nice stuff, so maybe he wants to tell us his own experience so far. You can do that in 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, actually, the Microsoft Power Apps, it's an amazing environment to work with. Let me go straight to the point. I think my first experience was, I think it should be close to a year now that I started working on Microsoft. However, I've not been a consistent person. That's the major thing holding me back. However, whenever I try to work on something, I make sure that at least I learn up to 5 different functions that I can use to build my apps. The first app that I built was a registration form. That one has been completed. Right now, currently I'm working on a mobile app. Is a mobile banking app. It's a complex app. So I've been able to do some stuff on it, and I've already started working. But it's a complex one. So my knowledge is limited. So but I'm still trying I will try to complete the app. Then I will see what I can eventually do with the app. Then also currently I'm learning. I think there is this skill that Ryan sent to me from zero to hero. That's what I'm currently learning my mobile power apps now, as in power apps learning. That's what I'm currently working on now. But it's an amazing environment, even for starter that doesn't even have any knowledge. You don't really need to know coding. Like all you need to do is just all you need is just for you to be focused and be consistent. Then the sky is your starting point. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your experience. Thank you. We also want you to put in more effort. I know you started this since last year, so by now you should have been a guru. You'll be creating wonderful applications. But I'm sure it's because of time constraint. Let me say we have on this call AZ Azizu Eguke. He's a senior developer. I mean, as far as the Power Platform is concerned, he currently works. Is a juggernaut when it comes to this. We also have Ahmed on the call. He's also a trainer par excellence. I mean, he's been doing this for over 2 years. And he's an expert. I mean, he also delved into this. I mean, leaving what he was doing before to jump on this. And so far, I'm sure he has good stories to tell. I don't know if he wants. I mean, either of them you can unmute. If you're able to unmute, you can unmute and just quickly say something.
Hello everyone, my name is Lausan. I would have loved to say quite a little, but then I'm in a bus, I'm just leaving work, I'm going home now. So I'm just going to say it's a first step in a very good direction, and then you are not going to regret it. And it's quite easy to pick up and quite easy to start something new. It's a very nice platform and very friendly. I'm sure you are going to enjoy. You are going to see as time goes on. You are going to see that this is quite nice. Welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Ahmed, for your contribution. Thank you. I appreciate. Okay, so I go to. Okay, I have Maiwa. Sorry, I have Maiwa too. Maiwa too is a strong man when it comes to the Power Platform. So, I mean, so these are people that you can run to. I don't know if he has 1 or 2 things to say. Don't chip in something.
Good evening, boss. Nothing, sir. I'm blue, sir.
Okay, stop hiding. I mean, so he's also one of your go-to guys. I mean, and then like that we used to say in Yoruba parlance, AZ is also a big masquerade. So he's a go-to resource for you should you have any challenge or whatsoever. So AZ, debating to you.
So good evening everyone once again. It's my pleasure to be here. So the belief is it's a mentor and mentee relationship, right? So I believe in the course we are going to learn from you guys, and you're also going to learn from us. That is Power Platform for you. So it is not limited. Learning is not limited or restricted to anybody. You can just go ahead and read ahead, like ahead of your tutor self. So when in programming, in programming generally. So there are a plethora of way to solving problems. So like I would say 1001 ways of solving a particular problem. So if I come this way to solve a problem, you might come the other way to solve that problem. So believe me and you, like we are going to learn from one another, right? So and the point is, the higher you delve into it, the wider your experience, right? And then the best way to learn is always don't learn like by mere reading, like you are reading a novel. So learn hands on. Like in fact, don't spend much of your time reading. Like deep dive into it. Like go to your canvas environment and do one or two things. So that is when you are really learning per se. So we are here for you anytime, any day. This is IT. We can always call upon ourselves at the middle of the night. That is IT for you. You can just call. Don't mind if somebody is a family man, you are solving problem. 10 p.m. can call if you feel like calling at that time. Maybe you feel like I don't want to extend this learning till tomorrow. So that is what I have for now. So I'm sure you are in the right hands. You're in the right hands. So Mr. Ahmed is there, like he's in fact his transition is from where like he was working as, let me say, a ward before. So now his career is opposite to what um where he is now currently. So according to Mr. Ibrahim, Mr. Amayawatu, so we are here for you. All right. So let's of talk. All right.
All
Mr.
right, thank
Ibrahim,
you,
you have the
thank you so
floor.
much, fellow comrade. I mean, with you, I'm confident, and with my other fellow comrade. So thank you very much. So so this session is just to, quickly introduce us, because I see that some of us are still looking at what can this platform do for me and all of those things. And yeah, I actually supposed to share a video with you, which I'll do much later. You can watch the video at your own convenience. It's about a guy at an airport whose career also changed. From his research, he found the Power Platform and he was able to do great things. And I can tell you personally too, all of us that are here that are experienced Power Platform developers, we can tell you for free. It has changed our career. And I can also tell you that it has also changed our bank account balance. Big time, because the demand for Power Platform developers is actually high, both in Nigeria and abroad. Okay, I can tell you that for free. And yeah, so now you need time. Yes, I've actually been doing. I've been doing all of these things since 2010, which this year makes it 12 years that I've been doing SharePoint and business process automation. So you starting now, you can see that, hey, I don't expect you to cover as much as I've covered, but then in the space of 1 year, you can come close. That's how easy it is for us to learning is now so easy. And make how do I put it? So there is ease of learning now, and there's ease of you catching up with even people who have been in the business for long. You understand? So I've seen people who are just recent graduates and they are doing fantastic stuff. So without much ado, the Power Platform, like I said, like I've introduced to some of us, is a low-code environment that allows you to build applications. So let me give you an instance. All of us are working in an organization. So say for instance, there's a memo. There's a memo that I, as a member of a particular department, needs to raise. And after raising that memo, I'm supposed to take it to my supervisor. After my supervisor approves it, I have to take it to maybe like my head of department for approval. Now, what I would have done naturally would be to, type on a paper, then take the paper to my supervisor. After his approval, take it to the head. So that's like a flow. But in that case, we are digitalizing it. We are putting in the form of business process, such that rather than me using paper, what I'm doing is I'll do it in an electronic format, and I create a flow that makes it flow in that manner. Another thing that I can also do is, let's say I work in a restaurant and I need to make my order. Okay, so I could build an app that showcases all the food, all our menus, right? So right there and then I can pick any of the menu. Once I pick it, it adds it to my cart. I can pick as much as I want, add it to my cart. Then once I submit, it goes to, I mean, the restaurant, people, for them to see my order and be able to. So anything you can do on an app, you can do it here. The only difference is that now this is not for external access. I mean, you can't access it via Play Store. It's not like you can access your app via the iOS store. But what you can do is that for Power Apps, there's a general app that you can find in Apple Store, iOS store, where all your applications that you have access to, you'll be able to access them on that application. I mean, I want to charge us to, for those of us that already have account, you can download the Power Apps and you will see whatever application you've built in the past, you see them there. In like manner, for Power Automate, just like the name implies, automate, it means to automate process, allows you to connect to different data sources and be able to push. I don't want to talk too much. Let me just go straight to share my screen so that you can see some of the things I'm talking about. Let me see. Okay, so I'll just share my screen. Let me see. Is this it? Let me see. Okay, great. I'll show you what the Power Platform environment. One of the beauty of this again is that there are quite a whole lot of resources for you to learn. I mean, the resources to learn are enormous. In terms of both human resources, both web resources, and everything that you need to learn, is there. So if you go to make.powerapps.com, already you should have an account. You should have a Microsoft 365 account or Office 365 account, right? So once you have it, you can access this environment, go to make.powerapps.com, and you see home, learn, apps, and the like. So if you come to learn, for instance, you will see all the resources that you need to learn. So for instance, you see this says, quickly start to build and share apps that connect to your data. Discover how to make model-driven apps, canvas-based apps with this, our focus. So there are different apps that you can build. We have model-driven, we have canvas, but we'll be focusing mainly on canvas-based, right? So these are resources that you can use. You can see guided learning. If I go to getting started, for instance, it opens another tab. Sorry, can you see my screen? I'm sharing my screen. Can you see? Can you see my screen?
Your screen is up, yes.
All right. Okay, thank you. So you see, this one allows you to, by the time you go through all of this, introduction to Power Apps, Power Apps building blocks, creating your first app, by the time you go through all this and you do the check your knowledge, and you finish the whole of this, I'm sure you would have really appreciate it. But without much ado, let me also go back to apps. So if I go to apps, I'll be able to access all the apps I've built in the past, okay? So for instance, let me go to this payments process. Let me open it so that you see it. Let me also open leave requests. Okay, let me open this one. Let me also open membership. Let me open all these apps so that you see what we built here. So while this is opening, so you can see all your apps here, right? Another thing, if you need to create your own app, what you just come to is create, okay? It says that you want to create from blank, you want to create from Dataverse. Dataverse is like a data source, right? SharePoint is also like a data source, even though SharePoint does more than what we're trying to do here. But of course, for the purpose of this training, I mean, is actually used to store your data, Excel, SQL, and the likes. One of the beauty of this is that, so because this system is still evolving, so there are new features that are coming on board, and one of them is this image. So you can design your application or your form. You can design your form in an image on a paper, scan it and upload it here. Then this will convert it to an app for you. I mean, it's super. There's also Figma. I mean, Figma is used to design UI, I mean, of an application. You can also, bring it here and it converts it. So it's interesting and more features are coming. So let me Oh, this one is not showing anything. Apparently, it has not been published. So I'll just close this. Okay, this one was a component we built. So, but I won't dwell much on this. So let me just close this. Let me go to it. Okay. If you look at this membership, for instance, you will see for instance, if you want to know people who are members of this mentorship, power mentorship, this thing, for instance, and we need to capture their details, I could build an app to do that rather than putting it on paper, which you agree with me. For instance, there are various places of worship. You have members, right? And you need to capture people's data. You can build an application that does that, right? Which is what, or if you belong to an alumni of your university, you can build this kind of application to manage membership, right? So let me do add member, for instance. Okay, so it's not actually functional. So apparently the latest update has not been published, so, but you get the sale of that. But if I need to edit it and look at how it works, I will come to this membership and do edit. So by the time you are editing it, so one of the things that you need to also make sure when you are doing this, that your internet has to be stable. Okay, you need a very good internet to work with, right? So while we wait for this. Okay, so as I was saying, the application you are building determines what you need. For instance, if you need an application that requires that you store data, it means you need a data source. And there are different data sources. And an example of a data source is Excel. So what does Excel do? You can store your data in Excel, right? Which you agree with me. An example of a data source is Dataverse that we saw earlier. An example of a data source is SharePoint lists. So please, you can note all of these things so that you can go should you want to, search further online. SQL is a data source. So there are quite a number of data sources, but primarily we're going to be looking at SharePoint lists to build whatever application we want to build. That's for an application that you need to store something. If it's an application that you don't need to store anything, you don't need any data source, you can even decide to say, okay, the application I want to build is just a calculator, a simple calculator that allows you to, okay, a customer buys something, you just enter, okay, what did you buy? This, then you look, okay, so let me take you back. So if you look at this membership, you see that contrary to what we saw when I opened it earlier, we didn't see all of these things. The reason was because this application has not been published. But if I go to add new member, for instance, I can add a new member, say Ibrahim, okay, last name, middle name, day, department. I can do department, matric number, okay, gender, male, email, phone number, okay, industry, graduating set. Then I had this member. You can see what say new member successfully added. Then it comes here. If I need to manage all my members, I can come here and it shows, okay, let me say I want to see active members. You can filter. Okay, it's not showing anything. So something probably is wrong. Okay. Okay, let's see why something. Okay. So you can see it's not showing anything, but that will be factored later. But you can see at this point, I, as the admin of this application, I can see everybody who has registered. I can filter, based on their active, their status. I can actually filter based on department and the likes. Go back home, and as a name, I can add new member. So this is a typical application. Okay, this is a typical application. So I'll close this and check the other one. I'll close this and check the other one. There are so many templates I'll show you. So just look at it. So, okay, let me go to create, for instance. Let's assume I want to create a new app. There are also so many different templates here. So if you come to this template, you see fundraiser. This is a model-driven app, but we're focusing on Canvas app. So this is a Canvas app, for instance. So let me see one that is simple. Okay, let's look at this help desk. Let's look at this help desk and create it. This is a template. So these templates are there for you to gain inspiration. Look at how they were built. Look at, in terms of, look at the UI, the user interface. look at how the functionalities were created and joined together to give this. And if you also need an app that looks like this, you can take a cue from this. So let me open it for us to see. Okay, you allow this. Okay, so let me preview the app. Can you see this? This is an app for so can you see this? So you can see this is an app. What this app does is to submit a help desk ticket. So imagine that you're working in the company and you work at the front desk or you work at the help desk. You need to log ticket and the like. So you simply just do this, right? You log in as a help desk user, then you can create a ticket. Okay, you can see it's not started. You can put in title SIM damage. Let's say I work with a telecom firm here. Okay, category. Okay, no, let me say hard disk HDD damage. Okay, let's say HDD damage, right? So let's say it's laptop equipment issue. Priority high. Description: my hard disk is not working, something like this. So you can see this is a simple application, right? As simple as it is, but it solves a problem of, you wanting to log users a complaint, right? So which is what it does. Now, if you now look at all the things that has been put together to achieve this, you can go through these different screens. You can see the different screen, right? So look at them. So you see all of these. So if you preview this, for instance, so this is the ticket I just raised. Okay, so this is the ticket. HDD damage, the priority is high, the ID. So you can also build something like this, right? And you look at how it was built and be able to take a cue from this. So if you look at this layout is called a phone layout. There's also the tablet layout, but you can all see everything that we're seeing here, right? You see, so these are different screens that were created, just like you create slides in PowerPoint. You agree with me? So you see all of this. So if you want to see, for instance, this delete, what was the formula behind this delete button? So if you click on this delete button, go to action on select, you look at the formula behind it. See, look at the formula behind it. You can see how simple it is. So that's why in Power Platform, what we write is we write expressions. We don't code. We write expressions. Look at this cancel button, for instance. What's the expression behind it? You can see how simple it is. Just back meaning that it should go back to where it's coming from. Why delete does what? It removes. Then after removing, it navigates. Okay, so let's go back. So I'll close this particular app, look at another one, then now look at one simple thing that we can also quickly do. Please, this is just a crash course. So it's a crash course. So let's look at another app here. Okay, let's look at this leave requests. Let's look at leave requests. Okay, so you notice that all of these are coming up by the time I'm close. So the reason is that In PowerApps, we call some of these things we use connectors. Connectors are actually, because they are different components of the of the Office 365. So you could connect to different things. And for you to connect to those things, you need permission. And that's why these things are like Office 365 users is a connector. You are using it to connect to Active Directory. Active Directory is where users within an organization's details are stored. Okay. Why Office 365 Outlook is for email. So you need permission for you to be able to access those resources or those, yeah. So that's why it's asking this. So by the time you are taking the crash course, especially on this getting started with PowerApps, Canvas apps, these are all the things that you will learn. So please, I would charge you to quickly take this in record time. I mean, as far as the week is concerned, just quickly take this, and I'm sure you would also enjoy it. So if you look at this app, for instance, let's look at how many screens we have. Okay, we have 1, 2, okay, quite a number of so what this does is it allows you to be able to make leave requests within an organization. So maybe you want to go on leave, right? And you need to apply. So you see your leave balance first, my leave requests. You see your balance. How many days do you have left? 10 days for vacation, 8 days sick leave, 8 days floating, jury, different types of leave days that you have. And you can also see all your days within the organization. So should you want to request for a new one, just click request, okay? Then you put it, you select the type of vacation you have. It shows your number of days. Current balance is 9, new balance 9. I mean, so the title. So you can say family vacation, something like that. Put the details. Yeah, I need to take time off with my family. So once you do this, you see the date. You select the date. How many days are you going? It's 27 to 29. So that's 2 days. It will deduct. So disregard this. This is showing up because of some configurations that needs to be done on this thing. Then once you do that, you submit. So I mean, you can see how this application looks. You can see how beautiful it is. It also tells you some of the things that you also can build by working with this. Now, if you're now a member of, if you work in an organization, so what you'll be doing will be tailored to what the organization actually wants. For instance, if you work in an organization like a bank, for instance, so what you'll be building will be based on what the organization wants. Loan requests, cash requests, or petty cash requests. It could also be cash advance. It could be cash retirement. It could be reimbursable. It depends on what the peculiarity of that organization. And also the number of screens here. You can see what we have on this left are called screens. Okay, but without much ado, let's just do one simple stuff. Let's play around the studio so that you can see. So this environment, let's say we want to create a new app. So I'll go to blank. Okay. Say I'll go to blank Canvas app. So I'll call this Freshers app. Okay. So you see that it says, is it tablet or phone? So I'll just say tablets for just this purpose. Okay, so I skip. So this is the environment. I'm sure you are conversant with this environment. If an ardent user of Microsoft Office, this environment should not be new to you. Reason being that it typically takes the look of Microsoft Word or Excel or PowerPoint, as the case may be. Why? Because on this left here, on the left navigation here, you create screens, which is like you creating slides in PowerPoint. The middle here is just like the body that you used to have in Microsoft Word or the body that you used to have in PowerPoint. Why the bar here is called a formula bar, which is where you write your expressions, just like you write inside Excel. So I mean, and this up here is called the ribbon. The ribbon, just like you have in Microsoft Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, as the case may be. Okay. So here you create screens, like I said, and you also we have variables. I mean, quite a number of stuff that you can do here. Let me take, for instance, I want to do a simple calculator. So I'll go to insert, go to this, then I'll go to input. Okay, let me insert a text box control. So this is the text box control, okay? So I put it here. So I can drag it, I can drag it, I can copy and paste again. Control C, Control V. I can copy Control V, Control C, Control V. If I like, I can also insert here, but it doesn't really matter. So I haven't done that. I can go to I will insert a label, okay? So once I insert that label, I put it in the middle here. I put it in the middle here. Okay, let me adjust it. Then I'll put X. So up here, I'll put X here, okay? Because I want to do multiplication times, okay? So I'll centralize this center. You can see all of this I'm doing now. I've not written any line of code, okay? So I'll copy this particular, okay, let me insert another label. I'll do another label here, okay? I'll put it here. So this one will be my equal to sign, okay? This one will be my equal to. So let me override this. No. Okay, this one is my equal to. So I'll centralize it, center equal to. Then finally, I'll insert another label, which will be the one that will show my results. I'll put it here. Then I'll drag it down. Okay, so let me centralize this to so let me make this bold, yeah. So this text input, if you see default here, okay, there's text input here, so I'll delete it. This text input, the same thing, I'll delete it, okay. This one too, I'll delete it. Okay. There's one thing that we okay. Now let's preview it. So here now I can put 12 times 5. So what's the answer? No answer yet. So now for us to make it work, so what we'll do is we'll set the value of this label 3. Where is it? See? So if you also want to rename it, it's good. Let me call this label LBL, then total. It's good that you rename so that you can, but there are some cases where you might not be renaming everything. You might not be able to rename everything you want. So let's call this TST multiplier 1. Okay. Then this one we'll call it TST multiplier 2. Okay. Okay, so this total now, our total will now be, when I go to text, if I go to, I'll click on this drop down here. So this drop down shows the property of whatever thing you select on this on the body, on the studio here. So I'll go to default, or if not default, I'll go to text. Okay, so I'll go to text. So in this text now, I'll say multiplier 1, which is TXT multiplier 1. Okay, dot text. So the reason why I put dot text is because it's actually that control is used for text. So that's so I'll now say times multiplier 2 dot text. So let's wait for it. Okay, sorry, that times is wrong. It has to be asterisk. Okay, it has to be asterisk. Okay, so let's go back now and put, let's say 12, 5. So you see it, 60. Let's say 90. You see? Let's say 1. Okay, let's say 0. So you see how it's working. You can put one this, then you can put this one 45. So you see how this works. So this multiply. So another thing, if I want to make it complex, I can make this times. This instead of having this times here, I can put a drop down here. If I remove this one, then it's go to insert, I'll make it a drop down. Okay, so the drop down will be somewhere here. Okay, so let me centralize it. So by default, once you put a drop down, there's an items property of this drop down that's called where you can put what should show up in the drop down. So here I'll just put this. So I'll say the first one should be multiply. Okay, the second one should be plus.
Okay. So now in this case, when I preview it, I'm able to select which one do I want to do. Is it plus or minus? Is it minus or plus? Okay, that which will now. So now it's now becoming complex. So what it now means is that there's something we call condition. Okay, there's something we now call condition, and that's why I want to implore us to go and, for some of us who don't have a knowledge of any programming language, you need to also learn a bit of programming language where you now talk about condition. But it's something you can learn here too. Condition in the sense that if what I select here is multiply, is this star, this star here, if what I select is star, then it should multiply. But if what I select is plus, then it should add. Okay, so let's try something. I know it will be a bit difficult, but let us look at this. So this drop down, let us call it operator. Let's call it DRP up. DRP up. DRP means is a drop down. Up means operator. Let me write it in full. Operator. Okay. Now watch what I will do. So I will say this is the name of the operator. So I'll copy it. I'll come to this my total. This one is showing my total. I will now say that if open bracket, if just like I said, is condition. That's what we call conditional statement in programming. It's just like, for instance, your younger sister or your younger brother. You say if your younger brother comes home on time, this is what should happen. If she doesn't come on time, so that's a condition. In this case too, we're talking about a condition here. So we're saying if the drop down, so I'll say drop DRP operator dot selected dot value. That's how it works. Okay, dot selected dot value is equal to, I'll now put in brackets star or no x. So I'll say if it equals to x, what should happen? It should multiply txt multiply txt multiply 1 times txt multiply 2. Okay, that's what it should do. But if it is not, else it should do tst multi 1 plus tst. I'll close it. Okay, so let's print it. So look at this. Okay, so let me choose plus. Can you see it? So let me use this. Let me use simple numbers so that you really get it. So you see it now. 2 plus 5, 7. 2 times 5, 10. Okay. 2 plus 5, 7. Let me make this bigger so we can get it clearly. Let me make this 40. Okay, let me make this 40. Let me make this 40. Let me make this 40. Right? Okay. So now 2 plus 5, 7. So if I choose times, it becomes 10. Okay. So now look at the things that we have learned, because I don't want to I would like to stop here so that we can go and we can also ask questions, and so that we can also go practical on our own. So what we have been able to learn here, we've seen controls. We've seen our controls. Can you please mute your mic, anyone who is not talking? Okay, so so you see what you've learned here. Now we've seen how to add a control. We've seen how to add an operator. We've seen how to multiply and conditional statement. So these are things that you will need. Look at what we have done here. Okay, no. So look at what we have done here. We've learned how to do conditioning. The condition is that if the operator, and look at how it was built, if the operator is x, it should multiply it. Else, you see that what I did here was to put a comma. The comma means that else, just add it. The reason why we didn't specifically say if it was equals to plus, it should be this, is because there are only two things. There are only two operators, multiply and plus. If they were 3, I would have done another conditional statement here. But because there were only 2, that's why I did. So On the final note, let me add a third operator here. So if I had minus here, for instance, if I had minus here, for instance, so when you're working with this, you need to also to be patient with it. I mean, yeah. So if this, so we said if is equals to this, do this, then I can also copy the rule. Or okay, no, let me just cut out this and say if if DRT operator dot selected dot value is equal to plus, okay, comma, so to be txt mult1 plus txt mult2. Okay, I'll now say comma. So comma, now I don't need to do if again. I'll just say txt mult1 minus txt mult2. I'll close it. Okay, I'll close it. So you see that I close it 2 times. The this bracket must tally. I open one bracket here, another one here. So I must close it twice. Okay. So I can click on format text for me if I want it to spread it out for me to see. Okay, if I click on format text, it will do that. Because there's a bit of delay, so just hold on a second. Okay, so fantastic. So it has done that. So it says if the operator. So now let's preview it and see. Okay, I'm not sure it has resolved yet. So you need to be patient with it, just like I said. Okay, it has resolved now. So let's play it. So let's do minus. Can you see it? Let's make this 27. So 22 minus 5, 22. Let's say times 5, 135 plus 5, 32 minus 5, 22. 2 yes, times this plus this minus this. So yeah, so at this point we'll stop. I mean, there's more to this, but I really want you to learn all of this. And yeah, so look at how to do this, then go through this getting started. Then the next subsequent class, we'll look at how to, there's actually be the form part of it where you build form and you submit to a database. We'll get there. So at this junction, I'll stop for me to take questions. Thank you. So if you have questions, just ask, okay, please. If you have questions, you can ask. If you don't have any question, what I will just do, what I'll just do is to make sure that you do something and you show us. Is it that you say screenshot on the group, or yes, there has to be a feedback. We need to see what they're doing so that we can track your progress. Okay. So any question? Oh, nobody. Are we fine? Hello. Okay. Okay, Tom Wallace, go ahead with your question. Hello. We can hear you. Okay, Emmanuel, noted. Okay. Any other person? Okay. Okay, please unmute. You can ask a question. Please unmute and ask a question. Hello. Your mic is muted
Mr.
if you're
Ibrahim.
talking. Your mic. Yes.
This is AZ. Thank you very much for the tutoring. Like, I really learned a lot.
Yes, sir. I think I can hear people trying to talk, but I don't know. I can't hear them. Okay. So I think we can. Is there anything you want to add?
So, Mr. Abraham, nothing for now.
All right, sir. Okay, so I
Yes,
think we
sir.
can call it a day since no one has a quest, ask anything to ask or whatever. So thank you, everyone. And like I said, please, Maiwa, do you have anything to add, please?
Nothing for now, boss.
All right, thank you, sirs. All right, so I think we can call it a day. I mean, should anyone has any challenge or whatsoever, and please, like I said, please endeavor to do the getting started. Try and do the started, and I mean, play around this. Some of these things that we have done, you also try to do them. Try to do other things that we haven't even thought about as far as this is concerned. And I'm sure that and explore the different templates that exist. Okay, so you would, I'm sure. So we want to see people's tasks going forward. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Have a good day.
Ah, ah, ah,